Welcome back, J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Little Seven Nation Army here. One of those that definitely got used by everybody and their mother in sports. We've been doing a lot of walk-up chatter today.
Yeah.
Having fun on a Tuesday. Always fun to chat with Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel. He is with us now on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Good morning, Adam.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Pretty good. So what would your walk-up music be, Adam?
I'd probably have something sort of unsettling for the opponent. Like, what is that? What's up with that guy? Because they hear the song. I covered MTSU a number of years ago, and I remember the seniors would pick the freshmen their walk-up song when they started. And I remember one guy had "Mbop" by Hanson. His walk-up song. So I would probably have something sort of unsettling, like a Disney song or something, where they think, what is wrong with this guy?
All right, so not like unsettling like Michael Myers in Halloween, but unsettling in like this whole like, wait a second, why is the Pinocchio theme playing for him?
That's right. Little Mermaid. What is it? Now, if I was picking one seriously, I'm a teenager of the '90s. I would Machine Head by Bush. The first 30 seconds of Machine Head.
It's good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. What do you think the theme song for the 2022 Vols could be?
Ooh.
Weren't expecting that question, were you?
No. I'm trying to think of a mountain ascending type of song. This seems like the type of year that you've got to make a push upward. You get your quarterback back. You get your offensive line mostly back. You get enough pieces back. You get a 1,000-yard receiver in Cedric Tillman. You get some of your defense back, and the defense wasn't great last year, so whatever you get back is fine. Your coaching staff is completely retained except for one assistant, and you promoted within for that one. And your schedule's pretty weak, for an SEC school. And so 7-5 last year, and they were closer to 9-3 than they were 6-6. You can just look at the close games they lost and close games they won. So 8-4, 9-3. That's upward trajectory. This is the time to do it, because if you look in the future, Hendon Hooker's not going to be here next year, so you're going to have a new quarterback. You're going to have some other pieces you've got that I've already named that you're going to have to replace. So if you can take a step up this year, I think the fan base would understand if there was a half a step back next year. But that means you got to make the step up this year.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, so Theo Jackson's right here in Nashville. Cedric Tillman. These are just examples of guys that last year maybe you weren't talking about going into the season, but you were certainly talking about both at the end of the year. Who do you think candidates to do that this year on this Vols roster could be?
Well, if you look at wide receivers, Jalen Hyatt, I think he's a pretty popular pick, and he would be for me too. Mostly because we've seen hints of it before. His freshman year when Pruitt was still here, he caught 20, 25 passes. He did the same last year in a backup role. We went into last year saying, well, Jalen Hyatt will for sure be one of the guys that benefits from this offense. He's a little out of position when they had him on the outside. He was not physical enough to get off press man. They have him in the slot now, fits his skill set better. And also, I think the type of game that he plays is going to be well suited for big plays and a lot of yards. He's more of a vertical guy. So, like Velus Jones Jr. last year was what you usually think of a slot guy, catch it over the middle, break a tackle, quick laterally. He was really good at that. Jalen Hyatt is not that type. He's a vertical guy, a long striding guy. So I think you're going to see more in the offense of throwing it deep down the middle. And I think Jalen Hyatt's going to be the guy to catch a lot of those deep balls. So I think Jalen Hyatt is an obvious guy to be there. Now, I will say that creates a little bit of an obstacle for Squirrel White, the freshman, because he's looking to play in the slot as well. And so Squirrel White is one of those what I would call camp stars. And, the guys that halfway through has been a star, and you say, hey, he's going to play, and then maybe they fade after that, and you don't talk about him again until later in the season or next year. I'm curious to see the language used to describe him this week, because the scrimmage today and the scrimmage Saturday, of whether or not Squirrel White is still in the mix, or if he's just a piece that they'll use down the road. But I certainly think Jalen Hyatt is sort of that Cedric Tillman type that could rise this year.
You mentioned the record, being 6-6, 7-5, whatever it turned out to be last year. And you said they were closer to 8-4, 9-3 potentially. And a main reason they weren't, let's look at the Pitt game and definitely the Ole Miss just off top as far as those 2 extra wins. And that resulted in third down play. Have you seen an emphasis? Have the coaches been speaking about that a whole lot when it comes down to this defense this year for the Vols?
Well, I mean, it's all they talk about. If you ask any general question to anybody on defense or to Josh Heupel about any general improvements, it's always at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question is talking about it fix it? Sometimes it helps. It's certainly an emphasis. They're going to have to do something with the scheme. They're going to have to do something with personnel. I mean, a lot of what this comes down to is a pass rush, and it comes down to a pass rush if you can bring it with 4 guys. And you're not necessarily going to scheme that. That's going to have to be individuals beating blocks, and that comes down to, Byron Young. That comes down to Tyler Barron, who's now on the opposite side of Byron Young. Last year he was his backup in what they call the Leo position, more of a weak side edge rusher. Now Tyler Barron is on the strong side. You have them both on the field at the same time. They've looked to see if they can maybe work in some of the freshmen.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, and there are hints that we're going to see more Bryson Eason, who was more of an edge guy before, but he's up to 300 pounds. That they're looking at using him on the interior. They've got to find some way to get to the quarterback without bringing a lot of linebackers, without doing like what you mentioned last year, bringing Theo Jackson out of the secondary star position. Winning on third down, especially, third and medium or third and long, you've got to have coverage and you've got to have pass rush. And at times they had one of those last year. A lot of times they had neither, though. And so you've got to have a 4-man rush to make that work.
Speaking of that, the guy that's at the head of that is Rodney Garner. He's gotten a whole lot of praise this week. He's made some statements. Look, you don't come to Tennessee to go 7-6, and the way he coaches his defensive line hard. I got to ask you, what do you think the steps that those guys going to make under him, and also what does Rodney Garner mean to this team, man? Because you kind of hear it in his voice, the passion that he coaches and kind of leads those young men with.
Yeah, I mean, Rodney Garner's an old school guy. If you don't understand what that means, if you ever come up to practice, you'll see a lot of position coaches going through drills and telling players, I like it. And you'll hear Rodney Garner say, I hate it, and a few other words along with it. So very old school. I mean, this is his 33rd season coaching. It's all been in the SEC, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee. And so you will hear that from players about saying he has skins on the wall. He's a legend. Whatever he says goes. They say that usually in the first month, sometimes the first season, in Tyler Barron's case. They don't like what he says. They don't like what they're hearing from him. And so it takes a while to sort of, make a turn and make a change when reacting to sort of that drill sergeant type that he is. And, I think there's a feeling. I think we can say it's probably going to be better this year up front than last year because a lot of those guys have talked about not really buying into his style early last year, maybe all of last season.
Yeah.
And year 2, you hear them talking a lot differently about him. And he's a really good recruiter. He's a proven position coach. He's put 33 guys into the NFL draft. He averages 1 per year, and I'm sure he'll have another one this year. We just don't know who it is. Well, Byron Young's probably going to be one of them, but there may be another.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to ask you. UT didn't make the coaches AP top 25, man. And with that being said, that poll switches throughout the year. You can go from number 10 to number out of the top 25. In that, breaking the top 25, who's a potential team you can see Tennessee upsetting this year too? Early prediction.
Well, I mean, if you're going by the poll, then Pittsburgh would be an upset because they're up higher than they should be. But, I mean, and I'd have to look back at the poll again to see where everybody was. I think Kentucky's in there. I mean, I would pick Tennessee to beat Kentucky right now. The games early on at Pitt is sort of a must-win.
Yeah.
If this is going to be different than last year, at Pitt is a must-win. If you're winning that one, sort of the gravy or the cake is at LSU. I mean, if if you were to win at Pittsburgh, I think they should be favored there. And if you were to finally get the monkey off your back and beat Florida, I mean, at LSU is a hey, you're contending in the East type of game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really would be, because you'd be 4-0, you'd be going on the road in a tough place, and you'd be sitting pretty. But that's sort of pie in the sky until you figure out how to win at Pitt and at home against Florida or in the first month.
I gotta say, Texas is ranked 18th.
It's going to happen every year.
Who gave them a #1 vote, Adam?
There's somebody trolling there.
Yes.
Remember, that's the coaches poll. I know I know a coach, not one that I've covered, but I know a coach in the SEC that used to vote in the coaches poll, vote every FBS team on his schedule he would give a vote to. So you would have, if you're playing Troy that year, then Troy got one vote to be at number 25 because a coach wanted to put him in there. So some of these coaches take this somewhat seriously. A lot of them use it to sort of send messages or troll each other, and I suspect that the latter was the case there.
One of the things that I'm seeing in a lot of different reports from people that are, when they're getting to watch what they're getting to see, Adam, is this team looks fast. They look quick, and, of course, that's good for a Josh Heupel offense. But even defensively, they appear to have upped the speed quotient a bit. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're learning how to utilize their speed a little more. I think they're going to be better on the edge, and I mentioned that. I think you've seen some of the bodies of different guys transform a little bit more. I mean, last year a lot of personnel was dumped on them, and you couldn't decide who was an edge guy, who was an inside linebacker, who was a star, who was a safety. And they're starting to understand that, I think, utilizing speed a little bit more now. I still have a big question about the secondary, because I think I've even talked on this show before about they've got like a dozen guys and they got 5 spots. And
yeah.
A lot of those guys, they don't even know where they fit. Well, Kamal Haddon, maybe their starting corner's been out somewhat with an injury. Christian Charles has been banged up with an injury. Have had a couple others that have set out. So they're probably a little closer to figuring that out, but I don't think they go into the Ball State game knowing who their best 5 are in the secondary, and they've got to get that figured out before they go to Pittsburgh.
Big detriment last year to this team was linebackers. What are they looking like? I know they got a few transfer guys in that team room now. Just what is that position going to look like? Is it better than it was last year?
It's potentially better, but it's a big if, because Juwan Mitchell, who came from Texas last year, they thought he would start. They thought he would be their starting middle linebacker, and he got injured early on. He came here injured, and then he got further injured, and they set out the year. They say he's healthy now, and they say he's playing well, and we've seen a little bit of it. If he's healthy, then you've got Jeremy Banks, who's an all-SEC caliber guy, and Aaron Beasley, who had some deficiencies last year. Then Beasley's got to compete with Juwan Mitchell to start at that spot, and competition will bring out the most in those guys. And they're solid after that. I mean, Solon Page is back, like a 6th-year senior, I think he is, maybe a 5th-year senior, and he'll give you something. But if Mitchell is healthy, then you've got at least a core that you've got options, and that's what they didn't have last year at linebacker.
Are you somewhat worried about this left tackle position? I see Jeremiah Crawford as a kid that's kind of gotten the edge. Gerald Mincey's in there, and not just just overall the depth of this group too. When it comes down to this offensive line,
I'm more concerned than they sound, because they don't sound very concerned. I think they probably are a little bit more than they're letting on, the coaches, that is.
Yeah.
I mean, Gerald Mincey was brought in from Florida to be the guy that starts, and he looks the part. He's athletic, he's big, but the fact that he didn't win it out in the spring told you that they weren't sold on him yet. And I think Crawford right now is the guy. I think they wouldn't mind if Mincey ended up being the guy. Dane Davis is sort of if these two guys don't work, we'll plug him in there and see what happens. But I think he's going to end up being a backup guard. I mean, maybe it's nitpicking, because they returned 4 starters on the offensive line. We're only talking about 1 guy, not 3 guys. It's a pretty important position. I mean, I've asked them about that's protecting Hendon Hooker's blind side. Is that an issue? And they're like, nah, we'll move some things around, and you can always help with the running back and the tight end and all that. And I understand that's the case, but you ask the running backs what's the issue there, and they say, well, pass protection. But if pass protection is the issue at left tackle and pass protection is the issue at running back, then two issues don't turn that from bad to good.
Yeah.
And they added a running back in Lynn J. Dixon, former Clemson player, and that's good, and that'll help their depth. But he's a change of pace guy. He's an undersized, fast guy. He's not a pass protector, I don't think. So I think there are still questions there, and they've got to figure that out because their left tackle. These were some of their options last year at the Music City Bowl left tackle. And Hendon Hooker got blown up a few times there. They've got to get this figured out.
I know Ellerby, your guy, Moan, has said, Darnell wants to stay at right tackle, but they could move him over to left. Where does he factor into this? I guess, obviously, if Mincy or Crawford – I saw Brent Hubbs has said something similar to this at VolQuest. Like, if Mincy or Crawford were to win that gig – then you'd be able to keep Darnell where he wants to, and where I think actually Alex Golish wants to leave him too.
Yeah.
See, and I wonder about this: is Darnell Wright is hoping for an NFL future?
Mm-hmm.
Is he better served being at? My theory is he's better served just for that at being at right tackle because he's not an NFL left tackle, but he's possibly an NFL right tackle, and if he can show that he can play really well there as opposed to be a mediocre left tackle, I think it probably serves him well. It shows his ceiling, but it sort of shows his floor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to that, right? You want the film of me at right tackle is going to look better than the film of me at left tackle, and maybe that helps me out. I don't know, but there are. But Moan, we see a lot of guys just switch positions.
You're blank canvas
and get
when
moved
you come
around.
In. Yeah,
right?
you're a blank canvas. I think me personally, I'd put the most secure guy at left, and that's Darnell Wright. And you can better see the front side rusher than you can, the blind side, as we witnessed in a Purdue bowl game.
Well, and I also wonder we're going to have some pieces moved around too. I mean, we saw injuries last year, and Jerome Carvin, who I think their steadiest lineman, he was banged up a little bit the other day. So Addison Nichols, the freshman, was plugged into guard a little bit. He wasn't center. He's at guard, which is probably where his long-term position will be. Cooper Mays has had injury issues. Your backup there is probably moving Jerome Carvin over like they did last year. But if Carvin's not available, Addison Nichols, the freshman, who's never been a center before until the spring, is the guy you're trying there. So I think we're talking about left tackle, but if you look at last year, you could say by a month into the season, we're talking about, plugging a couple of guys in there that did not start the season just because of injuries. So this could be a bigger problem than just left tackle.
Mm-hmm. So Moan and Blaine, famed Ball State guy, there's gonna be some kind of a bet. How many points does Moan need to give Blaine to make it fair?
Ooh. I mean, I think this is like a 33 point win.
Yeah, they got it minus 32 right now. I'm just looking. Yeah.
Good for me. I had no idea.
Look at you.
Yeah, I mean, now I do think Heupel they'll score early. I think they'll slow it down faster than others because you're at Pitt next week.
Yeah,
there's no reason to speed it up. Slow it down.
How many am I giving them? 20?
Yeah.
How many? 25.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. I think you're fine there.
At 20? Okay, I'll give them 20.
What do you think, real quick, on the way out? Florida's first two games coming to the Swamp, Kentucky and Utah.
Ooh.
That's tough for Napier early. Like, I didn't notice that until this morning when I was starting to look at some of the SEC schedules. Like, that's rough. Like, they may desperately need a win that I don't think they're going to get against Tennessee. And I think Napier can coach, but I think this could be a rough first year.
Yeah, I mean, the two that you just named may be an offer. That's and I tell you what, a lot of the stuff that he's doing now about everybody's socks have to match and all these sort of things, that can work long term. You better not screw that up and have those type of regimented things and then lose, because they like fun and gun down there. They don't like military style, make your bed a certain way and wear your socks a certain way down there. They like points and they like fun football. So you better win if you're going to be that way. I think he eventually will, but not with that type of schedule.
Yeah,
to that point, has an SEC coach lost early and recovered? You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the new coaches come in hot, at least above 5. Has there been one, and considering Napier's in his position, to lose and recover.
Not at schools like that.
Okay.
I mean, you could lose at South Carolina or Kentucky and recover.
Vanderbilt.
I mean, Kirby Smart did not have a first good year. I mean, I saw Vanderbilt win in Athens against Kirby Smart. He did not have a good start, but they gave him just enough rope, and he made it work. But yeah, usually you lose early there. They turn on you.
Okay.
How do you think Brian Kelly? Look, Brian Kelly, their over under is what, 6.5? I think somewhere in that. It's going to be a tough year. How patient do you think LSU fans are going to be?
Well, I see that's one. I think he can coach his way out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can make that work. There's a lot of talent there. He'll get it going. He's an odd fit. Brian Kelly's an odd fit for LSU.
Yeah.
But they'll take whatever if you win, and if he wins, they'll be fine with him.
Appreciate you, Adam. Thanks brother.
Adam.
All right, guys. You have a good one.
All right, it's Adam Sparks.
Odd fit.
Odd fit's what we've all said about Brian Kelly down there. If they win, it'll be a perfect fit. But if they don't, 615-737-1045. More in a moment.
It's time for Window Nation's Back to School sale, where you can get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. Doesn't sound like a deal, but trust me, it is a deal. Plus, pay nothing with no interest until 2025. And with those windows, you can lower your energy bills, raise the value of your home with new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. Get an A+ in savings, please.
We should have horns underneath this. Weather impacts your windows. Hot days and cold nights can cause caulk to crack, seal failures, and condensation. I found it, so I talked to Window Nation. Now my windows are on order. Can't wait to get them here in a couple of weeks. They use top-of-the-line materials. It includes mold spray, Quad Max sealant, toughest against all weather conditions. All they do are windows. They did over 200,000 last year. That's 40 times more than the average window company. 96% of them requiring no follow-up service. They measure each window 3 times to ensure proper fit. They've already measured mine twice, and they'll do a third before they put them in. Over 10,000 online positive reviews. I wouldn't be endorsing them if I didn't have complete trust in them. They've got experience and credibility, trusted by over 100,000 homeowners, and yes, that does include me. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free on any style window from Window Nation. There's no limit. Plus, make no payments and make no down payment, no payments, no interest until 2025. Save thousands on those new windows and energy bills. Upgrade the look and feel of your home. Do it by calling them just as I did. 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION or online. Where am I?
At windownation.com.
Yep. More walk-up music. J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. So, again, I heard Patriots are dark horse, and now I'm looking on television. They had a player meeting because of how bad the offense has been in camp through the first 10 practices. That's how bad it is. And guess who's calling the plays?
Who?
Matt Patricia. I have no idea why. He's the one that called everything apparently last week. I'm telling you, it's going to go poorly up there.
This freaking clown.
I mean, think about what he did in a role in Detroit. Like, that was so bad.
Freaking bum.
Man, the stories coming out of there were terrible.
Listen at his
Horrible.
resume. You ready? 96 grad assistant, Amherst defensive line coach, Syracuse offensive graduate assistant, New England Patriots in 2004 offensive assistant, New England 05 assistant offensive line coach, linebackers, safeties, defensive coordinator, head coach of Detroit, and now an offensive play caller. What is your career? You're not an offensive guy. This is Patriots trying to tank for somebody. What is their plans now, Jay?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know in no uncertain terms they're not going to be good.
No.
They're just not. And I understand that it's hard to get away from Belichick and you just, they still win the division. No, they're not.
No, not this time around.
They're not. They might be the worst team in the division. It's possible.
It would delight me. It would delight me because I love to see the Patriot faithfuls now. And I know they're not around. Not the way they were when Tommy Boy was there. I'll say that. And that's understandable, but yeah, I got a feeling.
So remember we were doing Tanier had the training camp vibe thing, and we were talking about it was a positive for the Titans. Generally, it was better than people thought, all that kind of thing. New England, it's just kind of a troll from him.
Is it really? He's not a New England
Late
fan?
Victorian is the vibe. He says, we are not amused by your rabble-rousing suggestions that the Patriots are in decline merely because Bonnie Prince Brady has defected and Lord William has passed on parcels of the empire to knavish layabout bastards. The sun shall never set upon the Patriots' way, and the aristocracy shall prevail by keeping calm and carrying on with a stiff upper lip. Tut, tut, tut. What's that you say? An uprising in the colonies? Surely it's nothing to worry about. Basically mocking them.
An uprising in the colonies. Yeah. Everybody, the pendulum usually swings, right?
If they were to win, that's going to be the Belichick. That might be the best thing he's ever done. That might be the best success he's ever had because they are totally outmanned and outgunned.
Yeah.
Legitimately at this point. Third hour of the show's coming up. David Boclair, 25 minutes away. We'll talk some Titans with him. Slay in the fourth hour. We're going to talk KD with him.
Yeah.
Amidst other things. J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool? Well, don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your home. It's Ramon Foster, and I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs, and they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months, no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. They also back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer is at its hottest, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
It is 8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Titans preseason opener Thursday at the Ravens. As the big voice guy just said, it'll be the fans' first chance to see some of the offseason signings and the rookies from the 2022 draft class. Rookie tight end Chig Okonkwo joined J Mart and Ramon yesterday talking about his experience playing with QB1. Kickoff Thursday, courtesy of Titans Radio at 6:30. Alabama voted number 1 in the preseason USA Today Coaches Poll released yesterday. Ohio State 2, defending national champion Georgia is 3, Clemson 4, Notre Dame 5. Tennessee received the third most votes of schools in the others receiving votes category, trailing Iowa and Penn State. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour 3, J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. Roquan Smith has requested a trade. He knows they're terrible.
Trash.
Eberflus is a defensive head coach, too. Hadn't coached a game. He's still, get me out.
Get me out. Wrote a long letter, too.
And he wrote a letter that's out there to see. Lost trust in the organization and their attempts to take advantage of him during contract negotiations. Also feels it hadn't been a negotiation. It's been pressuring me to take a deal or leave it.
Yeah. I wanted to be a Bear for my entire career. Help this team bring a Super Bowl back to our city. God.
I haven't had the chance to talk to the McCaskey family. Maybe they can salvage this, but as of right now, I don't see a path back to the organization I truly love.
Kid is a stud, too.
Yeah, he is.
That kid is good. Do you want, how much, pretty much? I'll say this, it's probably a little
Looking
off.
forward to that Rams uniform he's going to be in.
He's more valuable than Jimmy G right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'd say about him, Jay. I'm talking about ready to go starting type player is Roquan Smith. I remember when he came out, I was like, you knew he was going to be a stud, and he turned exactly into that as a friggin' pro. Golly. Bears, you can't do enough at this point. Simply cannot. This dude's a 2-time second-team All-Pro, All-Rookie team. Just a ball player. Just a friggin' ball player. 6'1", 230. He's one of those heat-seeking missiles on the field. That's kind of the way I view him as a pro. Kid is bad, man.
Yikes.
Bears.
Terrible.
Bears. Oh.
They should be the worst team in that division.
Even with the new young franchise quarterback. It's almost like you didn't already tanked for a franchise quarterback, even though it's claims that they didn't want him, right? They went up to top 10 to go get Justin Fields. And you're still not completing the task of building a team. Again, I'll say this time and time again with other teams that are having their issues at quarterback. Titans fans, you don't have these issues.
No.
You don't have a management issue. You don't have a head coaching issue. You don't have an ego issue when it comes down to your team. You do not. These are non-football-like things that these players are not excited about, or the fact that they don't know how to manage a roster. I'm looking at San Francisco's situation. How come you did not get rid of Jimmy G early enough? And I know he had a surgery on his own and all those types of things, but you got to operate a little bit better. You got a guy basically hanging on to your franchise because you can't manage it properly.
That's right.
That's a tough spot to be in, man. That is, you don't have those problems.
Mm-mm.
No. These are all non-football items, and that sucks as a fan. I know it has to. What are we going to, as much pride as the Chicago Bears has as a fan base? Let's speak about just the fans for a second. That would leave you like, I'm not going to the games. As much as people enjoy going into those stadiums, like I'd sell my tickets almost just to make money back. That's tough for a guy like him. This is a starter that's in this position. Bad, poorly managed teams.
And you see it, and it's just it just keeps on spiraling on itself. Bad general managers, bad head coaches, bad draft picks, bad decisions.
Yep.
And I think Justin Fields is a good draft pick, but there's a reason why I kept asking that question to various NFL guests as to whether or not he was going to be the next Sam Darnold.
Oh, wow.
Where I think Sam Darnold could have had a chance, but he was broken and
not surrounded,
not going to be repaired.
And that was the what's so wild about it is like, what is their actual payroll as far as going to get talent? Chicago is a beautiful city, right? Everything you hear, this is a beautiful city, and you can't attract guys to that city, that team, that organization. Oh, y'all are cheeks out here.
Just the worst.
It is what it is.
That's right.
Again,
Michael DeJesus on line one. What's up, DeJesus?
What's up, DeJesus?
Hey, what's up, Ramon? What's up, Jason?
Hey,
How you guys doing this
good,
morning?
man.
Hey, so Justin, what he need to do is just request a trade and get out of there, because if not, he ain't gonna have a career to even.
Yeah,
agreed.
Hey, Jason, you're sleeping on this walk-up song that I got for you.
Yeah.
Shake, hit it.
Let's go! Yeah! Look at the Jesus!
Snipe.
They sniped him.
Snipe.
He got rid of the Jesus.
I did it on the beat, though, Mike.
He got rid of the Jesus.
Hey, you know what they said in Lebowski? No one messes with the Jesus.
Snipe.
Short leash today, huh? I saw the Jesus like the song on social media. I didn't know he was going to call in asking for it. That is good. Look at Jay. He can't. Oh.
It's hilarious.
Hey, man. Come on, Jay.
You wait till Slay comes in.
Oh, I know. I'm just going to leave. I don't think I can handle it.
Hey,
Jason Martin.
if your kids aren't ready to go to school, you play that for them this morning, okay? If you're not ready to go to work, parents, adults, guess what? Play that song. You will be all right. Yes, Slay. They got all your laughs on the soundboard. How many we got, Shave?
We got 2 from Slay, 2 from Tanier, 1 from Buck.
Hey, there we go. 2 Slay. Oh, all right, Zach, that is a nice
Here's
phrase
1
right there.
and 2.
I like that one better.
I feel like I'm at the optometrist. 1, 2.
3. I'll take 3.
I hate you, Shay. You shouldn't be doing this to people's voices, man.
Woo!
Everybody hurts. I don't know why I sung that. But Jason, why are you this way? Huh? The best producer in the world! He ain't even got to talk anymore. He's got all the answers.
That's when I knew the board was perfect. Because I could carry on a conversation with none of y'all.
Just
Hell no.
hell no, man. Yeah, that's you, Savage. But to the point of Roquan Smith, man, Titans, you do not have these problems.
Right.
And that is a point to be made out of all of it. Can you imagine losing one a year? I know he's second team All-Pro, But you imagine losing a starter at linebacker in the middle of camp.
First contract too. A dude that can play.
Dude that can play.
You can't get that figured out, can you?
Saying that they're trying to take advantage of me. I don't know exactly what that means, but the negotiations can't be good. Like, it can't be. That's the thing about negotiating. You win some of the negotiating side, you lose some of it. Like, both sides feel like they probably could have gotten extra. You know, like that's what negotiating is. And when you have a guy that's saying like it's unfair, it's not right in negotiating, then it's probably that bad, because you can be quiet about it for a while, you know, and then it starts to break apart. It's like, all right, what are we actually doing here right now? Bears, I never imagined a place like that going through this type of stuff. Lose Akeem Hicks. But again, I run it back to Jeff wants to be here. Zach Cunningham came here and wanted to be here also. Bud wanted to be here. Harold Landry wanted to be here. Byard wants to be here. Like, there's a lot of that. Although Derek wants to be paid, Derek wants to be here. You know, like, that's the beauty of having a well-run organization, is when everybody is at least content with where they are, you can just start focusing on what's important, and that's the football side of things. Can you imagine what their day is like today as far as the Bears go, what camp is? Everybody's talking about this. Does he even go to practice? Have the Titans actually gone through a situation like this themselves, to where a guy was just like, no, I ain't doing this? Has there been a Titan holdout that you can remember other than Vince Young's situation? You know, like, it was just, what are we doing here, Vince?
I mean, the lawn showed up in the Boss Hog outfit.
After he got signed.
Yeah.
This was after, though. I'm just saying, like, beforehand, like, who was that guy? You don't have non-football issues here. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. So NFL training camp, Dan Graziano visited. I guess he took a mini tour. He saw 7-8 teams, right? The Titans are the last one that he saw. And he talks about the Colts. He says nice things about the Colts, of course. But he went to Nashville and he said, this is the only reason I really mention this, even though it does mention NWI as a player the coaching staff sees as reliable, likely to be a factor in the passing game. So there's your NWI. To the question yesterday about why are people not saying anything, because he's not doing anything wrong. There's not really anything to say. Austin Hooper's a sleeper to watch. Robert Woods is likely the top receiver. But this is what he says off the start, and this is why I wanted to mention it. I spent almost all my time, full disclosure, at Titans camp working on an interview with Derrick Henry for a TV feature that will run on Sunday NFL Countdown early in the season. So I didn't get to spend as much time on conversations with decision makers as I did at the other camps. So this is a shorter write-up. But the point I'm making is there's going to be a big-time feature on ESPN, like a big-time sit-down with Derrick Henry early in the season. So probably keep that in mind. I think most of the countdown shows now for the NFL are terrible. Yeah. But I would probably keep that one in mind just to see when that pops up. Maybe it would happen before Monday Night Football against the Bills. Dan Graziano.
Dan Graziano did. Big name guy, too. Okay. A man of not many words, man, Derrick Henry. I can't wait to hear that conversation.
Yeah, that's why. That's because he doesn't say a lot. If it's a big-time TV feature in an interview, I want to know what it is.
Yeah. And that's the Monday night game against the Bills?
I don't know. It says early in the season. I could see it being the Monday night game against the Bills.
Yeah, that's what I would expect.
That's my guess.
One thing about Derrick, I heard people bring this up a lot. Like, Derrick, they always say he got small legs. You ever thought that? And, people get super conscious about stuff like that. He never actually brings it up. It'd be interesting to see if
Derrick with small legs.
Yeah, I've never thought of that. I don't think of anything.
One of the players said it.
The only time I've ever thought about small legs per se was Vince Young.
Yeah. Savage had to tell us, because he interviewed somebody that was like, yeah, he's super huge, and then you see his legs. He's got track legs, is what they said. We'll figure out who actually said that to us, one of his teammates.
Interesting. Maybe Boclair will have something to say about his thin legs. I'll tell you, Boclair's the one that said McCreary might play more snaps than Caleb Farley this year. He's the first guy that really got me thinking about Roger McCreary. Mm-hmm. So he could take that victory lap already based on what we're hearing at training camp, at least. It's encouraging.
He said it was Aaron Brewer. That's who said it. It's like Derrick with the small legs. One is starting OL.
Okay. Interesting.
For a small guy to say
that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you're not the big dude either.
It's like you can joke about it because I'm small too.
Right. We'll come back. David Boclair, Sports Illustrated, Jay Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Okay. As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything. Like when the relief valve on your water heater fails and it pours gallons of water into your finished basement while you're out of town. ServPro is prepared for that. Or when an electrical shortage in your office causes extensive smoke and water damage, ServPro is prepared for it. Or a musty odor indicates you might have a mold problem. ServPro is prepared for that too. You need a lot more than help sometimes clean it up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structure rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800 ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800 ServPro. ServPro, cleaning, restoration, construction. Franchising independently owned and operated.
You ever seen that before, Moan?
No, I have not.
Like I said, it's not a joke. I thought there was a sickness, but no. Baby poop can be a little different.
Oh, that body's so fragile.
Moan asked what CG's go-to food was. I'm like, oh, it's watermelon. And strawberries. Those are probably two, but watermelon number one. Her poop was red. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Legitimately red tinge like it was Adobe colored.
And we welcome into the show
David Boclair, Sports Illustrated on the Marksman Real Estate Hotline. Bokey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
You don't want to know, Bokey.
Hey, if we need to talk about red poop, let's talk about red poop.
Yeah, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, except for first game of the year last year. Hey, Bokey, I almost want to drag you down to the deep end with me, but we've already played this song too long, so I won't even do it to you anymore, man.
Okay.
Schaefer's trying right now
I
so
don't,
hard
Bokey,
to try and
there's
get it.
this
Don't do
walk-up
it.
song from Edwin Diaz, and I'm just like, this is the ultimate walk-up song of all tracks. There it is, Bokey. Come on, Bokey.
We got a professional on the air. I'm going to drag him into the Mets.
You got to imagine, Bokey, this gets you going. Yes.
Yeah. The funny thing is this came up in the media room yesterday afternoon, and honest to goodness, within about 5 minutes, you could hear everybody typing along, going kind of to themselves. It earwormed everybody in that media room yesterday. There's no question about it.
I love it, man. I've seen the video. I'm a fan of just, hitting a rep on bench. It's your last run of the day or you running out of tunnel. Like, the song has to be right, Bokey. And you just stamped it for me. That's all I needed to know right there, that you get it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's unique too, right? Like it's nothing no one else that anyone else has ever done. That's that guy's calling card for the rest of his life now. It's going to be that's awesome.
That's good.
Fantastic.
That's good, man. See, Jason, you don't want to hear something, Bokey? Like, I love rivalries, okay? But I can appreciate the opposition having a theme song. Jay is like, yeah, but it's the Mets. It's the Mets.
Well, that's why I'm sitting here, as a Philadelphia Phillies fan growing up, everything thinking, oh yeah, but it's the Mets. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Look, I respect it. I love it, but I also told Moan if this was the Cleveland Browns were known for this, you would hate it with the passion of a million white hot flaming suns.
I would.
If this were the Colts, Bokey, you playing that in the media room yesterday?
Yeah, probably, but I would think so. We all get a good chuckle out of things that go around, things that catch on. It'd be I don't have any hatred for anything like that.
So all right. So anyway,
we don't hate in the print trade. We just grind away.
I know some of your colleagues. Yes, the hell you do. Anyway, so you were the guy that originally talked about, you made the kind of boldish prediction, or just one of those kind of noteworthy comments about Roger McCreary. You were one of the first guys, you and Coach Mack are the first two that really I remember talking about McCreary. And now all you're reading is that McCreary's impressing day after day. What are you seeing?
It's funny. He's gone from being sort of a challenge to Caleb Farley to being a real problem for Elijah Molden right now. Molden committed the cardinal sin of getting hurt early in camp, and so McCreary has been doing all of the nickel stuff with the starters, and just like you saw all throughout the off season, he's done it really, really well, and I'm sure the coaches are in their evaluations and things right now are talking about, does McCreary need to be our nickel guy? And, we can find ways to use Molden differently during the season. A month ago, Elijah Molden was the nickel cornerback, and he's a guy, like kind of the ideal nickel cornerback, and you can do all these things with him. And I don't know, he might have lost that job by now, quite honestly.
Wow. With that being said, the performance this Thursday, I mean, that's key to it. What do you kind of see that shaking out for him? Is he going to play the entire game, you think? Is he going to be a guy that got to show something in special teams also?
Yeah, I doubt McCreary will play the whole game. I think he'll play a lot, and he'll play inside. He'll play outside. They will use him on special teams, but you know, he's not one of these. He's better than your average rookie, right? I mean, he's not one of these guys that they're like, well, he's going to have to start on special teams. You know, I mean, Shane Bowen's favorite line about the guy, and he's used it multiple times this offseason, is he's not a rookie. He goes, the understanding he has in terms of, you know, the differences between how man coverage and zone coverage function and his responsibilities and his technique in each of those. He goes, it's way beyond a rookie there. So it's not like with him they're saying, you know, we're going to put him on the typical rookie path and he's going to get his competitive reps and things like that early on special teams, and then we'll work him in. With him, I have no doubt they're looking at it like, this guy's one of our best cornerbacks. You know, how often and where is he going to be on the field right now?
Yeah. And that's what's so interesting about being on the field is preseason games now it's down to 3. So you got to kind of protect guys. As far as this OL goes with this Thursday night game coming up, and Baltimore always has a good D-line. I don't care if they're young or old. They usually are a good test, especially in the preseason. I don't expect to see much of Taylor, Ben, and maybe Nate, but that left guard and right tackle position, you'd expect a guy like Aaron Brewer should play and Dylan Radin should play, considering they're young, because we need to kind of see this live film.
Yeah, there's no question. And the catch-22 here, though, is you kind of need to see how Aaron Brewer works alongside Ben Jones and Taylor Lewan and how they – you know, how they function. You know, now it's not Wink Martindale calling the defenses on the other side, so you might not get as many blitzes. You know, even in the preseason, you knew Martindale was going to blitz, so maybe you can get away with without as many communication issues or things that you would face in this game. But I will say, you know, what you've been hearing though, and I'm one of the mindset that I think there's value to putting your top 5 offensive linemen out there for a series or two in the first game and maybe a quarter or so in the second game and letting them work together. But, you know, kind of what you're hearing from a lot of guys is, well, you know, our defensive line is so good and going against them every day in practice, we're getting all the work we need. Plus we've got the Cardinals and the Buccaneers coming in. So, you know, I don't think we're going to see Taylor Lewan. I don't think we're going to see Ben Jones. Certainly not in this game, and likely not at all in the preseason. So those guys are going to have to you know, work out their competitive reps going week 1 against the Giants. And say this about the offensive line too. You mentioned Dylan Radin's. You know, I think Brewer has sort of locked up the left guard. I don't think there's any question there. But Radins is suddenly has his hands full with Nicholas Petit-Frere, and there's you know, the way the coaches are using those guys at practice right now, it's pretty clear that there's a real competition going on at right tackle. So I would suspect that Radins will get a lot of reps. Petit-Frere will probably start at left tackle. You might even see him at left guard at some point in this game, but he will also shuttle over to right tackle, I think, once they decide they've seen enough from Radins, and then they'll be looking at Petit-Frere there as well.
Give me 2-3 players, Boki, you're most interested, your eyes are going to be closest following on Thursday.
You know, Kyle Phillips, I really want to see in a game situation that, you know, he's a guy who continues to impress in practice. You know, this team hasn't had a real regular threat at slot receiver, and I know they're not going to do anything exotic with him in a preseason game, but he's a guy I think is going to be fun to watch. And then, you know, this other guy, people hadn't talked about him until the other day, but I kind of heard some folks talking about him too, and kind of started watching this rookie linebacker out of Minnesota, Jack Gibbons, who apparently has an amazing grip on the defense already. He'll be he'll be the guy calling the signals in the huddle a lot of times. He it's one of those names that you sort of heard once or twice early in camp, and then you kind of kept hearing it and kind of kept hearing it. And he's sort of a tall, lean, sort of looking linebacker. He doesn't necessarily look the part, but he's a guy. He might play start to finish and end up with 12 or 14 tackles, something like that. Could be one of those kind of nights for him.
Wow, good, man. As far as the first rounder, you know how it goes. Traylon Burks, we got our eyes on him. As far as his role with whoever is going to be throwing the ball, probably more Logan Woodside, man. How much? About a quarter and a half is what we expect to see from a guy, because he's going to make the team. I think he's shown a good bit in camp so far too.
Yeah, it's funny how different things are with Traylon Burks now as opposed to a month or two ago. He got off to such a great start in camp the first couple of days. He hasn't been eye-catching the same way lately, but that's not to say he's been bad. He's just been going through camp, and you watch him run, you watch him move, and you go, well, yeah, that's an NFL wide receiver. There's no question about it, which is not the worst thing for him at this point. And he's a little different than McCreary. He's probably going to start with some limited, barring injuries to some other guys, whatever. Probably start with some limited packages and things. Maybe not be an every down receiver against the Giants, and then I assume build to it kind of throughout the season. Kind of it's similar to the way they started with A.J. Brown. Remember his first game against Cleveland, he only had 3 catches, but one of them was a huge catch, and he ended up with 99 yards, I think, that game, and had a couple of sort of ordinary games after that, and then it was about 6-7 games in when it's like, oh, look at this guy, A.J. Brown. I can see Burks now at this point maybe following a similar trajectory to that.
Speaking of wide receivers, Nick Westbrook-Akina had clarity on how you pronounce his name, man. But aside from that, where does he fall in this wide receiver room? Because to me, that's one of my bigger questions aside from the OL is who is 1, 2, and 3 in this as far as this year goes?
Well, Westbrook-Akina is the guy who can allow them to be patient with Burks and not overload him early on. He's a guy, because he has the good size and all. You can have him out there on first down because he can play any of the positions. You can have him out there in 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. So he's the guy who's he and Robert Woods will get the most snaps early in the season. He's never a guy who's going to dazzle you with his speed or anything like that, but you hear that he's gotten a little bit faster. He has certainly gotten better at getting open. He is, as an undrafted guy, he's sort of a home run for this team in that he's not just a guy on the 53-man roster anymore. He is a guy who has a lot of respect and will have a lot of opportunity to put up some numbers this year. And I would never expect him to be 1,000-yard receiver, but he's not a guy you're running to draft in fantasy. But he is a legitimate not a great starter, but a good starting wide receiver in the NFL right now, I think.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Bokey. We appreciate it. Looking forward to Thursday.
Always a pleasure, boys. Thanks for having me.
Indeed, that's Bokey. David Boclair, Sports Illustrated. Read his stuff over there. So he always brings you something you weren't expecting. That linebacker conversation is not the one I was expecting. Guess we need to watch that guy.
Absolutely, man. Good. That's a position that you need to have your captains, as he said, like really surveying the field and moving everybody around. Good for him.
Nicholas Petit-Frere. And we saw this yesterday in a text update from ESPN, too. There's more and more being talked about Petit-Frere versus Radens.
I didn't think it was that close.
Yeah, you observed it. You would have thought it would have been, but you would assume those are leak out comments on top of what people are seeing, right?
I would have. It looked like it was Radens' job, unless – and that's what they've always said. Petit-Frere, NPF is what they're calling. NPF is a smart
I was going to
guy.
make a bad joke and say I thought I forgot it was FR, but I was going to say he's NPR.
Yeah, nah,
Why,
NBA.
change your name, man.
Only you, Jason
Nicholas
Martin.
Petite Rare.
He gonna
Rare.
Be,
Hey, that's it.
He gonna be rare if he get his butt beat bad. But nah, medium rare.
Always.
Always medium rare. I go
For the most
medium.
part.
I'm medium on my steaks. But I'll say this: they say he was a smart kid. You knew he played big time ball, which is a huge advantage for a guy going up against somebody that was at North Dakota State. Respectfully, you can probably thrust him in, but they're calling it tight, probably just to keep ratings humbled. Unless it's just that close. It looked like Ravens to lose, but this is a good thing for this team because you're getting the best out of both of them. Considering competition, iron sharpens iron. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it. As far as NPF goes, long arm kid, tall body kid, good weight on him. I always thought, look, he's got to get his technique together. That was the biggest thing for me is you don't want him to be a turn door or turnstile whenever he sets against some of these fast rushers. Think about this, Jason. Week 2, you see the walking gold jacket himself. You see Von Miller on Monday Night Football. Whoever wins that position, you got to be locked and ready to go. I'm not overlooking the Giants. The Giants will be a good outfit, good game to really see where you are as a team. If you beat them, you need to beat them convincingly. Whatever the spread is, beat the spread and everything else. But week 2 gets real serious and real serious fast, man. So whoever it is, be that guy.
615-737-1045. Take your thoughts on what Bokey just said. Remember Ron Slay next hour. Remember Heights next. Jay Martin Ramon. J. Martin and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. I'm going to have to do these because I got caught not doing it during the break, writing down all the heights. So we're just going to have to try and do it on the fly.
Hey, sometimes it's better that way.
50 Cent.
50 Cent, I'll go 6 foot even.
5'11".
He's 5'11 and 3/4.
Oh, he still won.
Thank you, Schaefer. Thank you, kid.
Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger, 5'10".
No, 5'8".
5'10.
What?
Jeff Jarrett.
I hadn't met him in person. No, he played ball. 6'1".
6 feet.
5'10.
Suck it. I was giving Double J.
I bet you the Fed listed him at 6 feet. Wycliffe.
Wyclef Jean. Let's go 5'9".
5'8".
5'10 and a half.
They're all taller today.
Oh, 3'1".
Suck it. See here. Ken Jong.
I think he's taller than given credit for. I go 5'9".
That's what I was going to guess. 5'9" and 1/16.
5'4.
And
Both of you overthought it, man.
And I still.
Have you ever watched him on TV?
I have.
He's around other Hollywood people.
Short people, yeah.
And he's shorter than they are.
4'1".
Derek Jeter.
The Jeets. 6'1.5".
6'1".
6'2 and 1/4.
Yeah, I'm getting killed.
It's smoked today, man. It's kind of embarrassing.
5'1".
Can't dominate all the time.
Oh, listen to that.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. Let's go 5'7".
5'10".
5'5 and a quarter.
You know what, dude? Some days it's your day. Some days it's your day.
Yeah.
I'm getting smoked.
6'1".
Scarlett Johansson.
Taller. I go 5'11".
No. Scarlett Johansson, 5'8".
5'3.
What?
Man.
That's just,
Looks
no.
much taller in the Avengers.
Ain't no way the angles are that crazy, Jay.
Of course they are. Again, Hollywood people that are all short. She's shorter than they are.
Big fan of his angle.
5'3".
Little John.
What? Yeah. What?
Little John.
What?
I know. We could do it all day. Little John.
Okay.
Yeah.
5'5".
5'6".
Yep, 5'6" is right.
Oh.
Hey, look at that.
I can't win, but I've
Broken,
rallied.
broken clock behind the glass.
I'm kind of like Carson Wentz. I'm getting numbers during cleanup time.
James Earl Jones.
Oh my gosh. James Earl, I give him 6'2".
6'1".
6'1 and a half.
That's a split.
That's a split.
6'3", 1. All right.
6'3", 1.
6'3", 1.
Let's see if I can get
Rallied a little
one
bit.
more
Did rally
here.
a little bit.
Rallied a little bit.
I mean, it was an embarrassment at first, so yeah, you're kind of right. Michael B. Jordan,
I gave him 5'8".
6 feet.
5'10 and a half.
Yep.
Split?
Blake Bortles. I'm getting the numbers when it doesn't matter.
One more if I can find it.
Oh, you got.
So just talk real fast for me. I'll find this in a second. That's not going to make me find it fast. Here we go. Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, rest in peace.
R.I.P. 5'4".
5'6".
5'6".
Again, Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles is a whole
Blake
bunch of
Bortles.
cleanup time right there.
615-737-1045. So you reach the program. Ron Slade will reach out and touch someone here in the second segment of the next hour.
Whoa.
Hey.
Whoa,
come on.
hey.
Hey.
It's AT&T.
Hey.
Whoa,
Man.
Hey.
Long as
Kicks down my leg.
Long as it ain't Subway.
I don't see any food in here, so maybe he isn't actually going to reach out.
Hey.
That's usually the calling card. When I don't see it over there, I'm like, oh man, we might have him by phone.
Well, he'll be sober this time. He was a little crispy.
When?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Last week.
When
wasn't
he didn't make it into the show.
yeah. That was the heavy tequila.
That was the Tito's night.
Friday.
No, that was the Tito's like 72 hours.
No, I had tequila, I think, that day.
Oh, it was the day after the 4th.
Yeah, tequila is what I was talking about.
Yeah. That's right.
That was
That's our dog, though.
Man.
Olivia Newton-John passed away.
Yeah. She was so youthful, though.
Global superstar.
She was definitely one of those in terms of the beauty.
Beautiful.
Fox.
Yes.
So I'll say it, Jay.
Absolutely.
She was. I looked at a timeline of her life. Gosh, she decades of killing it.
Yep.
Movies, music chart success.
Grammys,
model.
right?
I don't know if she had a Grammys or
Think
not.
she
I'd have
got
to look.
two.
Maybe. I don't know.
She
R.I.P. to her, man.
She was definitely one of those that was like super popular when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably near the end of like that moment for her. But people of a certain age, you say the name, it matters. I saw one of the people in the chat say they couldn't handle the rest of the day when they found out she passed yesterday. I'm like, whoa, Frost.
That was a bit much.
Easy.
Simmer down.
Easy Seabiscuit. That's a Red Brian line, but I'm just stealing it because I like it.
Easy. REL.
Stop it.
By the way, they say a man can use drugs.
No, listen. You want to hear something stupid? I'll tell you after the break. It's Jay Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Suck it.
Straight up 9 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Breaking news, 23-time Grand Slam champion in tennis, Serena Williams announces she will retire after the 2022 U.S. Open. Titans preseason opener, that is Thursday against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Be the first chance for the fans to see some of the offseason signings and rookies from the 2022 draft class. Rookie tight end Chig Okonkwo joined J. Mart and Ramon yesterday. Talked about working with QB1 Ryan Tannehill in practice.
Ryan's a great dude. He's just he's very, very smart. So it's like once he tells you something like how he needs like a route to be ran, it's like you just understand it like from his point of view. He like a lot of times he likes to make sure that we know like what's going on in his mind, so that we can build that chemistry. So it's definitely been a pleasure working with him so far. It's definitely helped me a ton.
Thursday's game set for a 6:30 kickoff with Mike Keith and Dave McGinnis. Alabama voted number 1 in the preseason USA Today coaches poll that was released yesterday. Ohio State 2, defending national champion Georgia 3, Clemson 4, Notre Dame 5. Tennessee received the 3rd most votes of schools in the other receiving votes category, trailing Iowa and Penn State. And Nolensville Little League Baseball on the brink of a 4th Little League World Series appearance. They will face Team Virginia in the Southeast Region Championship game today at 4 o'clock. The game can be seen on ESPN. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Serena Williams in vogue. Farewell. I'm terrible at goodbyes.
Man.
It's the September issue cover. Comes a time in life we have to decide to move in a different direction. That time's always hard when you love something so much. My goodness, do I enjoy tennis, but now the countdown has begun. Have to focus on being a mom. My spiritual goals, finally discovering a different but just exciting Serena. I'm going to relish these next few weeks.
Good, man.
Won her first match in 14 months on Monday. Advanced into the second round.
Yeah.
Look, she is the only person really outside of like Michael Phelps that you compare to Tiger Woods.
Yep.
That's it.
Dominate.
That's pretty much it. I mean, Usain, yes, but I mean, like talking about in America, in American individual sport of this generation, I would say. Obviously, there's greats all time, but I always thought, you know, Tiger's on a different level, and then Serena and Michael Phelps are the other two.
Yeah.
That really kind of have encapsulated this.
And the way those folks right there, like, took over the sports, they added fear. Like, people feared them.
Mm-hmm.
They were good at actually winning, you know, and just that addiction to winning, Jay. Every single one of those, you said Phelps, Tiger, Serena. Assassins.
Mm-hmm.
Just mentality, and I guess the point to be made too in a solo sport. All right, you can say Kobe had that mindset, Jordan had that mind, LeBron is in that conversation. There's a lot of people, but just like solo sports where you own them. Like even going back to the, what was it, 96 Olympics, was Michael Johnson this dominant as Usain? Like he was up there, and it was beautiful to see. I was 10 years old watching that, just realizing how great that was. But maybe Bill Belichick as a coach, but just individual sports performers, yeah.
I think it's those three. I really do. I mean, yes, there are. I mean, certainly.
We're probably
if we're getting outside of the country, then you go to Bolt, you go to Federer, you go to Nadal, you go to Djokovic, you go to some of these other guys.
Yeah.
But in American sports over the last 25 years, it's those three.
Yeah.
Phelps in the Olympics, Tiger in golf. That's just on a completely different plane in terms of brand and everything it was. I mean, the Olympics, even if you weren't watching the Olympics, you were watching Michael Phelps swim.
Yeah.
And then certainly Serena Williams.
Just disrespectfully good. The yell Phelps wasn't much of a yeller, but even Tiger, his intimidating scowl that he gave you.
Just the fist pump and
yeah.
the red, like there
The
was,
red shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It made, and the thing for all of those people, they opened up doors to a lot of people that never thought they would play or even think about being in those sports. Tiger, how many people picked up golf because of Tiger? How many girls picked up tennis because of Serena? How many people wanted to do competition swimming because of Phelps? And I know he's a rare breed. I've seen people, I'll say this in Pittsburgh, I know there's a bunch of people that did swimming. They had it in their schools and stuff. And that was the reason why when American sports do good, especially in the Olympics or in the big Showtime games or Sunday games or Sunday courses for Tiger, you knew that, man. Hall of Famer and her respective branch, grand slams, just out of this world. She missed the record by one, two, maybe? Mm-hmm. One. Dominant from late 90s all the way up to 2020. When was her most recent win of a major?
It's been a little while.
17.
Steffi Graf is always my favorite. And she's the only other male or female player in the open air to win 4 consecutive majors multiple times.
Yeah.
Serena and Steffi.
Which
and
open?
To your point about playing a sport and swimming and happening, look, I had friends that were swimmers. One of my best friends' mothers was a swim coach as well as a teacher and all this other stuff. I played tennis in high school competitively within the city and the region as well as in the school. And the reason why is because American tennis was just blowing up at that point in time because Sampras was rolling. Andre Agassi was rolling. And then even Malvia Washington and Todd Martin and Michael Chang. And there was a fleet of really good male tennis players for me to emulate.
Wow.
Because I had that. And so I played tennis. Pete Sampras was my favorite. Yeah. And so I watched it, and it mattered. And then, of course, there were great players across the world, too. You have Evgeny Kafelnikov and all these guys. But there were guys for me to look up to in my own country.
Yep.
And that's what Venus and Serena were able to do.
Yes, sir.
Really the first sustained Americans to do since, Chris Evert and some of that kind of stuff. And that was important. And that was the other thing about Tiger's importance was it gave people somebody to emulate. It gave you a reason to want to pick up golf clubs.
Yep.
Whether you were 45 or 15.
Yep.
And I think that's the lasting impression. And why would you want to swim? Because I want to be like Michael. You're not going to be because he was built in a way that if you look at his physiology and everything, he was made to do what he ended up doing. But it gave you this inspiration to do this thing.
Yep.
It made you want to be a part of that show. And Serena's one of those for a generation past mine. One generation past mine in terms of the kids that grew up 5-10 years after me. They wanted to be her.
Yep. 100%. Danny Teat put it in there, too. You see that name? I knew we forget somebody. Simone Biles. Another one.
And when you talk about Serena, you obviously have to mention Venus too.
Yeah, Venus.
Serena ended up being the better player.
Yeah,
but yes,
so we got a big four. We got a Mount Rushmore then of individual sports, if that's the case. Simone, Venus, Tiger, and Phelps, and not just that on not just individually, Jay, but on a global scale too. To your point, the Olympics where everybody's best is competing. We saw a good era, and I think it's a wrap for Tiger.
You know you're good when you encourage kids to pick up what you do because they love watching you do it so much.
Yeah, man.
And Tiger did it. Serena did it. Venus did it. Simone Biles is definitely led. And look, there have been a few of those gymnasts, Allie Raceman, and some of them that have led a lot of girls to try gymnastics and to great results for the country. Michael Phelps, there's never been, yes, there was Mark Spitz and there were other guys, but Michael Phelps made a lot of kids want to swim.
Yeah. Yep. Heck, we got tennis rackets in our garage right now.
I still play. I love it.
Yeah. But that's good, man, for her. She gets to ride off a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Roethlisberger. It's not like she's gone today.
Yeah.
Now when she plays, it's going to be can't miss. It's going to be if you're nearby, go see it because you're not going to have that much of an opportunity. And it might not be a bunch of wins, but who cares?
Who cares?
It doesn't matter at this point in time. She's already done enough. She's won 23 majors.
23 majors. And you look at her friggin' list of wins, man. Wimbledon, 2000. She got it in 02, got it in 08, got it in 09, 2012, and 16. What a run, dog. What a friggin' win.
It's crazy. It really is. So I said I was going to tell you something stupid.
Uh-oh.
Back to Aaron Rodgers real fast.
Okay, let me hear it.
Doug Gottlieb. I get an email from all the colleagues over at Fox every day from their producers. Here's something that was said on the show that was interesting or whatever like that. You know, we live in a hot take world, unfortunately. Gottlieb's comments about Aaron Rodgers yesterday were sent to me. And I rolled my eyes and I was just like, man, I have to tell Moan this because I want to see the eye roll in real time.
I ain't even seen it yet.
No, you haven't seen it because it was a quote that was sent to me that it's not anything like this isn't whatever was going on with Freddie Freeman and all that other kind of stuff.
Right.
This is the quote. It's actually possible Aaron Rodgers is in a really good place, and if ayahuasca treatment is the reason he's in a good place, the reason he's a better teammate, the reason he's a better friend, more power to him. Then Doug went on and talked about his mental health he's prioritizing, and that's a great thing. And jokes being made at his expense are unnecessary, and he's addressing mental health issues, and this is a good thing. No, this is a drug, Doug.
Non-doctor prescribed.
More power to him.
Drug.
Okay, more power to him. Suspended for 6 games. If it's a drug, it's a drug.
That's where I'm at when I saw them give the green light on that.
Okay, so so it's not going to pop a positive test. I get what the NFL is saying. All right, we wouldn't have caught this. That's, I guess, fair. But he admitted to it, right?
He admitted to it. He admitted to it, and you're openly saying if you get a drug in your system that you can get out real quick, cool. We won't test you for it. You know what I'm saying? And he, again, I'm with him as far as you said, Jay, his mental health, whatever he was going, I'm all for it. Trust me, I'm an advocate of that. Like, get yourself together. Mm-hmm. What if somebody said marijuana does that for them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they do.
What if people say alcohol does that for them? I know alcohol is legal, but let's be real about what we're saying here. Like, this opens up a different door, NFL, when we're talking about this stuff. Maybe I'm a little bit more, I guess, insane about, a little cynical about this.
Yeah, I would just say this. I'm not going to praise the guy because he went and had some experience in Peru. Good on him.
Yeah, yeah.
But, like, if I get pulled over for speeding and I'm leaving the studio,
right?
I'm on the interstate and I drive 75 and I get pulled over. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have gotten pulled over, but I was speeding because it was a law, right?
Yeah.
Like, I might not like the law, but if I get stopped by it, I've still got to abide by the consequences of said law.
Yeah.
If there are laws on the books in the NFL, if there are rules, okay, you wouldn't have popped a positive test, but you don't have to when you say, I did this.
Yep.
So then what are you going to have? What's the answer then? Well, you can't prove I did it. Well, I mean, you said it. So did you lie or are you lying now? Like, what? It reads false to me. I can understand what the NFL is saying about the positive test and all of that. I'm not going to celebrate Aaron Rodgers for going and having ayahuasca and then coming back maybe. And, okay, so Gottlieb makes the point. If this is in a good place, a reason he's a better teammate and a better friend, how great a teammate is the guy that after that experience came back and held up your franchise, not one, but 2 off seasons in a row? How good a friend was that to Devontae Adams, and why is he no longer playing for your franchise? How good a friend or a teammate was he to Jordan Love throughout that entire all that sequence? How good a teammate or just a colleague was he to Matt LaFleur during that time frame? Like, you can read stuff however you want to read it, and you can take facts, but I just look at this and I'm like, Doug, Boopy, Peaches, sit down, bro. Like, this is not a good take to have. Nothing against Doug,
but
good dude, had good interactions with him in the past, but no.
And if we bring up last week, like, this is my thing when it came down to the NFL a little bit. Like, you missed the mark on a lot of stuff. The Deshaun situation, like, this was a y'all problem. Y'all messed this up to where you bring in an outside arbitrator to try to solve your problems for you. But you have so many guys that you've banned and suspended and kicked out of the league for a drug. They're drugs still, Jay, right? And now you're saying it's okay? That's
Is it a banned substance? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
The ingredients in it are banned substances.
Yep.
So to the question that was just asked in the chat, if there's no rule, how did he break it? There is a
It's
rule.
banned drug. Yes. And he admitted to doing drugs at that. It's not like it's one of those pill-administered narcotics, like Toradol or whatever else, hydrocodones. Like they can regulate that how they administer it. This dude just admitted it. This is how and why I was honestly just ticked at the NFL for trying to push Deshaun situation into something bigger. Again, I agree he's guilty or he deserved more, but they go and do this again, Jay, for a guy that publicly admitted, yeah, I did it. Okay, OJ.
That's just Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
because he walks on a different level than we do. He had a new age experience. Keith Bullitt, by the way, just tweeted us and said, "Y'all really hate Aaron Rodgers, huh?"
No, not
No, I
really.
don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I just think this whole thing is
He
kind of
gets
lame.
away with stuff that other guys wouldn't.
You, Aaron Rodgers.
He is sort of irritating. I don't hate him, but there are some reasons to just kind of be tired of the Aaron Rodgers experience.
He gets away with stuff that other guys. If Josh Gordon said, "Yeah, I smoked weed," it helped me. It cleared my mind. It helped me with depression. He's suspended, or anybody else for that matter. What's right is right and wrong is wrong. That's what I'm at with him.
Ron Slay next. Jay Martin Ramon 104.5 The Zone. J. Martin Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Slays here. Of course, it's Tuesday. There's no food, but he is in the studio. So, hey.
Yeah, I almost stopped.
You almost turned around when you found out it was not.
As soon as I heard that on the radio.
I thought for sure because we had the horns, we were going to have tacos.
I brought a meal in this morning, man. I had some yogurt.
That's cool. I got to make pancakes anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm back on school schedule. So
you on school schedule.
I'm up. You know what I mean? I'm up and rolling. When y'all click on, I'm on.
So no more 1 o'clock in the mornings?
Oh, it could still be 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just got to get up.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? See, this really.
He going to save that one right there, too.
Hey, man, do it stupid, man. Hey, come on. All right.
See how many times we can hit this during the next 20 minutes.
Enough is enough.
Oh, no. It's been that type of day.
I've been seeing it. I've been loving it, man. You know I'm rocking with it, man.
Don't make me.
Hey, listen,
Don't.
Let me tell you how I was coming in.
Because then we never get back to anything.
No, I'm going to tell you how I was coming in. LeBron got a little trumpet up there in his toy chest. I couldn't find it. I was coming through the hallway. I was going to come through the hallway with the trumpet, and I was just going to walk back and forth. I was going to get Shape to play it.
You should have brought it in.
I couldn't find it.
Oh,
It's a party! Hey! 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 Hey!
imagine! Dog!
I do. I lose my mind. I lose my. And then that right there. There'll be people in the stands. There'll be people in the stands percolating in there. Hey, it'll be all kinds of stuff.
For the percolate.
Yeah.
It's time for the percolate.
Hey, man. I'm telling you, turn the whole gym out.
I knew it was a party
Yeah.
when Charlie walked in here, okay?
And did the little funky Watusa steps with it and came back in it. I said, oh, yeah.
Did not drop that cake.
No, kept cake on deck. Cake on deck.
I ain't even see if the cake in the break room.
It probably is gone. Whatever is that.
Well, Panzica was here.
Pan ain't gonna play with it.
Don't
But
let Joe Hunt come here, though.
hey, dog. First of all, that intro. And then the way he plays it up.
It's going to be
like
so
the walk.
good when they lose. I can't wait to hear that when they get knocked out. It's going to be such a glorious morning.
At some point it's going downhill.
Oh, it's going to be great.
You know how you say, hey, if you can be high,
Because here's the thing.
You better stay up and ride, baby. Ride as long
Like I
as
said,
you
let's say
That is a
instead of
nosedive.
just to throw it out there, let's say instead of it being the Mets and me being a Braves guy, let's say it's Georgia or Florida's thing.
But
And you guys beat them,
Yeah.
you're going to be playing that the next day, walking in, mocking it. That's the horns up, horns down thing right there.
Listen,
That's part of
That's
it.
part of the sport. Yeah, yeah. Ain't no rhyme or reason or wrong or right. It's part of the sport. That's what happens. You know what I mean?
If you get me,
You better get me.
you better continue to get me. And
'Cause
that's where
once
you're
I get
coming
you-
from.
Oh, yeah. Once I
I'm
get
just saying
you,
I
it's
can't
on.
wait to beat that music into submission.
See, and guess what? And guess what? That's what drives teams. That's what make you get up every morning and go to practice. That will make you say, I can't wait. And people be like, man, they ain't circling it on their calendar. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You think Cincinnati ain't circled on this calendar?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So you can say all the right things, but that tune always in your head. You know what I mean?
They probably
Part of
saying, I hate these damn these trumpets.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah.
But guess what? I've been on the sideline when I wasn't supposed to be cheering, and my knee is moving. Like, why are you moving?
Yeah, because it's on.
Because I like the vibe of it.
Well, like, I mean, it's similar to me. It's like, I mean, I like it, and it's still irritating because of who it is. It's kind of like it's like when it's not your team, but they get a uniform change. You're like, man, those are nice, but I can't do that. I can't do that, but I want that.
Personally, I like how much it irritates you.
I get it,
First and
Chase.
foremost, yeah.
I get it, Chase.
First and foremost, but
I
guess
get
what?
it.
That's the stomping of the terrible towel.
Yeah,
It is.
That's it. Like that's
I
why.
agree.
You know what
I
I
agree.
Because when you finally get them, you're like, doggone it.
Don't bring that up with Keith
bring
Boyd.
that.
I
Don't do
know. I'm just saying though. You know what I mean?
He's just trying to
But
brew
it's
some
stuff
coffee
like
this
that.
morning.
You know,
It is.
It's
You
just
never
stuff like
forget.
that. You know what I mean? So Yeah, man.
All right, let's bring it down, man.
Bring it on down. Everybody bring it on down.
So
What's funny is that
that.
people watching on the Zone TV can't hear the music. They just see you idiots.
I know, and I was one of them earlier today. So I said, once I get in there, I want everybody to feel like I've been feeling sitting at home watching this. You know what I mean? I want them to feel, look, we're having a ball. We're having a ball. Y'all ain't got a clue why.
speaking of balls,
Easy.
Ben McAdoo,
Whoa.
when asked about the
Wow.
Panthers quarterback,
Phrasing.
said he left his crystal ball in his other pants. Like, all right, Ben.
Hey,
We know it's Baker Mayfield, all right? Just stop.
Yeah.
What do you think of Aaron Rodgers and NFL's like, oh, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, because if you want your 2-time MVP to walk away,
you let him.
then you spank him on his hand and see what happened. If you listen, man, if they ain't learned yet to lead this man along, and I think they have, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to lose, in a sense, the face.
Yeah.
Like, and it ain't no, like, the shield is the shield. Mm-hmm. But, man, you also love to have them pieces in there to help it go. A 2-time MVP, he already told the Packers, y'all keep on playing with me, man, and I shake his whole thing down.
Yeah, he did.
And I'll burn it down if y'all ain't careful.
He on his way.
You know what I'm saying?
He is
Another
on
good
his way.
chant. Seth Rollins music, burn it down.
Man, that man make the what? Who owns the team? The whole
Everybody. Yeah.
He make all them bow down. He made the
does.
coach bow down, and then he came back and won 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
And now saying he gonna go, possibility he gonna win a third.
Hey,
even
Won
if he got a
2
jacket.
MVPs and maybe a playoff game.
Yeah,
And-
but it ain't.
but
Hey,
that's it.
And by the
all
way,
he's saying is I did my
you
job.
missing the most important
But
part.
he didn't know.
You missing the most important part
What?
of what he became a better lover.
Yeah, that was he snuck out.
That's
on
why
him.
Devontae Adams left.
Yeah.
You became a better what?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Derek, you got room?
Yeah, let me go and get on about it.
I'm just trying to play Uno in the corner. I don't need to hear about.
Yeah.
We playing Boo-Ray over here, man.
Yeah,
Why you talking about your love life
Yeah.
right now?
This man listening to Sade coming out the shower, huh?
Yeah.
This ain't the time.
Another guy, Jay he needed to discuss this one, and I'm starting to backpedal a little bit.
Oh.
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Kevin, dog.
All right, so
What? This is savage. It's like 3 stops now.
all right, Vidri, this is the thing.
You gained me on this one.
This is the thing.
Let me sip some of my water.
Yeah, go on, young man. Sit
I'm
back
sure
on this.
somebody spit in.
It's Ron. What up, buddy?
Hey, Ron, hey, come on.
wow.
Man, I ain't
What are
never-
you doing,
I ain't
Ron?
never here in the morning, man. I just get excited when I see people walk, Sleazy walk by, Ron walk by. I'm just happy. This is the thing, man. Listen to me. It's gonna be. It's becoming. This is a bigger problem that's finally starting to bubble out of the pot. It's not just with KD. And the problem with this is it'll fall back when they start to do the collective bargaining agreement again.
Okay.
This is, in a sense, what happens when you give, and I hate to say this,
I know you about to
Players'
say.
power.
the players this much power.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, didn't we hear
And-
Adam Silver kind of suggest he realizes this league's kind of
They're gonna
out of
reel
his
it back.
control right now?
But at the point, I don't know how you reel it back, because when you're trying to reel it back, you've let this go on so long
Yep.
that now the people that are in power, the ones that used to hold the friendships and relationships as the agents and owners and GMs and stuff, are the players that fought for this before.
Yeah.
So the Sean Marks that are in there that are getting crucified, he was one of the ones playing in the 90s that was, in the early 2000s that was fighting for this, for the players that had this power. So now it's there. How do you gain it back? And you see it spilling up. The NBA, you can't get mad at what's going on in college
Right.
with NIL and everything, and the way these kids are acting with the transfer portal,
Yep.
jumping ship, when the same people we looking at on TV
Doing
still got 4 year, $198 million
That deal
on
hadn't
the
even
table.
started. That deal hadn't even started yet,
hadn't
and
he
he's
said,
already out.
I don't want to play here no more.
And then he says, "Get this coach out of here." The coach that I got the other guy fired to bring in and demanded that he be the coach.
I
And
think
now
that's the
I
most
want him gone.
egregious
That's the
part.
part that irritates
That's
me.
the most egregious part to me on it.
And how is he wrong?
How is he right?
Well, he was wrong to begin with, because why did he think Steve Nash was a good decision then?
Because he got the whole world in his hand. That's why.
He's got one playoff series
He put
win.
something else on top of it. He said, get the GM out of here, too.
Yeah.
Like, what?
But then he didn't even say, I'll play. He's like, I'll consider it if you get rid of them.
You feel what I'm saying?
What?
This is.
You brought 3 of the 5, maybe 3 of the 7 top superstars and put them on one team.
One team. In 1 year. 2 years.
2 years. Complete.
Yeah.
And all 3 of them won out.
2 of them all gone,
and you had
right?
Harden's gone.
What's hilarious is
Kyrie
Harden actually turned out to be
just to
smarter
get
than
the
the rest
money.
of them.
Yeah, just to get the
Just
money.
to get
What
the
was it,
extension.
256 or
You know
whatever
what I mean?
it was?
Just to be on paper and get the money and still really want to trade.
Yep.
KD is walking to the front office telling them the same thing. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. All this is bubbled over out of the pot and is spilled right over into college. Well, we looking at it and like,
Why these kids acting this way?
Why
Where's the
wouldn't
lawyer?
they?
Because their idols are
Why wouldn't
acting
they?
that way.
why wouldn't he?
It's like
know what I'm saying?
you do what you see your parents doing.
You feel me?
Yeah, facts.
And if you're a college kid, you're looking up to KD, you're looking up to LeBron. What's LeBron doing? Well, he, instead of getting Buddy Hield and people that could have helped him last year, bring Russell Westbrook in. That's going to work.
And then that fall apart.
Okay.
Changing coaches left and right, getting this guy fired, that guy fired. I'm going to opt out. I'm going to do this.
right.
Threatens all of that stuff.
Let's go late 80s to early 90s Jordan era a little bit. And I know it's a different time, but in that time, it was only like 2 players that could pull this tight. It was Jordan,
And
he had a
wasn't.
Jordan rule.
And he wasn't.
But it wasn't a team thing for him.
No.
He was rebellious to his ownership,
Yep.
but Jordan could talk to Stern and get certain treatment. Magic probably could. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was maybe 5 players that had that type of pull.
Yep.
Was it because the NBA kind of took a skid a little bit to football? Was it
You know
the
what?
transition out of Jordan to the new era, like the LeBron Melo draft? Like, was that okay? We got to figure out a way to keep them going, and it was gonna go regardless.
Yeah. I think
Where was the switch?
I think it started to switch a little bit. Like the owners were in power then in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even though the league was changing. The players came back and saved the league with Magic and Bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once they saved the league, you move on into the late 80s, going into the 90s, and like you're bubbling. It's almost you owe us one. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get the dream team and you go global with the dream team in 92. So you bubbling the whole time. And at the same time, while all this happened, you still got guys on contracts for 8 years, $24 million. You know what I mean? It's like, y'all owe us
got
one.
us.
You know what I mean?
you got
Y'all owe us one. So at some point, when we get back to this, when the lockout happened, we're going to trickle this on down, man. We got to get these players a little bit more power and a little bit more say and a little bit shorter contracts with a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So after that 99 lockout, then you spill on over and going into the 2000s, and now it's a global brand. It's popping.
It is.
Now the league is no longer being sold by the dynasties, the Lakers and the Celtics.
It was the NBA
You know what I'm
fashion.
saying? You feel what I'm saying? Now you got the guys like the Kobe's,
AI.
the Shaqs, the AIs, and this
Tim
global. And this
Duncan.
is what Tim Duncan, this is what you
Duncan's,
pushing.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they grasp to that. You're not grasping to the franchises anymore.
No.
You grasp to the players. So who has the power? Okay, I ain't gonna do nothing. Well, what you finna go do? Cheer for the Dallas Mavericks?
There's
Why?
another thing happened that just came
You know what
to me.
I'm
I
saying?
hadn't thought about this, but it feels like to me the owners have lost. We don't talk about the owners the same way since Donald Sterling got kicked out in LA.
That didn't help.
When he had to move on and Ballmer had to take that team, that was an indicator where there were players like, I'm not playing for that guy.
Yep.
I'm not playing with this franchise. Because a lot of the structure is held up by a tacit agreement of the athletes to stick by the rules of engagement. And if they change those rules, we don't know what that looks like, but we're starting to see it a little bit. Like if Zion really had just said, yeah, I'm not playing in New Orleans. Who could have stopped him?
But see, this
What
is
did
the other
Kobe say?
problem.
I'm not playing in Charlotte.
Yep.
So what
Trade
happened?
me.
He ended up with the Lakers.
But naturally, basketball, I always had this conversation with you all the time.
Right.
Basketball is a sport in which one individual can walk in the gym in high school, and take over the show.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's social media, but it's always been that way.
Yep.
Think about when LeBron was bringing out droves of people. Like, it's one person can control. You speak about New Orleans. Like, why is New Orleans a thing? I know they got a few other players, but Zion is a big part of that show. And then, of course, the conspiracy side of me is like, well, why did they set up the draft that way for New Orleans to get the number one team? That's because they knew Zion was a ticket. Like, the player is more important than I feel like the team, really. In this day of basketball, where you don't have a whole lot of defense as much until the playoffs happen. Well, the shooting, the excitement of offense kind of takes over a little bit more. That's where I see it. We saw
we had that argument, right?
Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
Remember the conversation he just had about the kid out of high school? This is an NBA owner currently talking about a player in high school. It's like, I don't believe, what did he say? I don't believe in the social media.
As soon as LeBron got in the league, there was the immediate discussion: is there a league, or is there LeBron and a bunch of other people?
Listen.
That shows your importance right there. That dude
does.
came directly from high school and became the show until the Warriors.
So
is
it dependent too much on the player and not the team?
It is, man, in a sense, but at the same time, when you going through an 82 game season, man, and you need people to latch on to your product is your guy. Who's your iconic franchise guy that can get out there and backs the seats 82 games, home and road.
Even if they on the road.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's
Kevin Durant. That's what Kevin Durant's basically his bet is. He's pushing the chips in and saying, who are you without me?
And I just don't know how Brooklyn survives this with
I don't think they win with him or win without him.
Yeah,
they're screwed.
Can't survive this because the coach that you went for back for, you want out. Now what leg does he have to stand on? And Sean Marks from my era, man.
Yeah.
My homie was just telling me he was in Vegas. He was like, man, Sean Marks looks so old now. It's crazy.
Dressing them.
It's like the president of the United States, like Obama 2 years in, and all of a sudden look like he had aged 10 years.
What's going on? You know what I mean? And Sean Marks a good dude too, man, because he come from that Pat Riley lineage, you know what I mean? So he know how to run a franchise, but it's just.
We'll come back. Coach T's got a thought on Durant.
Coach T, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that's who it is. That's who it is. Jay Martin and Ramon with Slay here on The Zone. Well, Alan Parsons project. The Bulls.
You talking about timing.
You want to talk about childhood.
Yep.
Man.
Sirius, the name of this one.
It is.
Saw my uncle and auntie get into an argument over this. He hated Jordan. And my Aunt Thelma, she let him have it.
Coach T in Nashville. Coach.
What's up, Coach?
Hey, man, y'all just put my theme song on. You took me back to the south side of Chicago, baby.
Hey. Put him in a United Center, baby.
What did he say?
No.
The Madhouse on Madison, baby. The Madhouse on Madison. You already know. And I would have been on your auntie side in that argument, by the way, too.
She'd appreciate it.
Exactly. Hey, I'm telling you, man, I ain't seen you since in the airport about a month ago, getting ready to fly out of town, man. But I'm telling you, man, you spot on. You only missed one thing. During that time, when we had Jordan, we was killing people. You got to remember, Jordan wasn't making a lot of paper with the Bulls. He was making his money from Nike.
Yep.
So that money came. So it wasn't until, Reinsdorf and the boys who didn't care because he owns the White Sox as well. It wasn't until later on, like you said, after the walkout, he said, okay, we'll pay him because now we know he's Jordan. So he didn't make majority of his money his last 2 or 3 years in the
last
league.
2 years. Yep, you're exactly right. Yep.
So now you go to Kobe, then jumped off and get his paper. Then you move on to LeBron. Well, the difference was David Stearns, right? Stearns saying we wasn't going to be like who? The NFL.
Right.
We were going to put the control into the players' hands, and so we can have a more friendly league and people start to come over. We weren't going to have the same argument as NFL owners are having, so we're going to make this a more friendlier league that people are going to love. Now, all of a sudden, it's got out of hand because Stearns is gone. The other players there. Now you got players dictating what they're going to do.
Yep.
They're telling owners how they're going to play. That'd be just like you walking in and working in the morning and say, hey, man, I deserve $100,000 more. And I'm not going to work until you get rid of everybody who I want to be in. It's good, but come on, man. How long before this NIL gets to high school, and now you got it out of hand with high school coaches, college coaches, and it's just, a crazy situation going on.
Right. You're totally right.
Good stuff, Coach.
Absolutely right. Yep.
Coach got a heck of a point, man.
That's what it is, though, man. Like you wanted to change the image. You needed something to try to steal something from the NFL. NFL is different, man.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? But you needed something to grasp it, and it was the players to me.
For the NBA, it worked though.
It did.
All-Star is an event.
Yes, it is.
You know, like the finals, like everything about it, like their stars
playoffs period
became global too. Like KD said, like he just got a court in China.
Yeah.
Like Steph has a court in other countries,
and that's the thing. You know what I mean? You got to be a champion to go over there. They ain't gonna respect anything in China unless if you ain't no champion. I don't care how good you are. Damian Lillard, you can't go over there.
For real?
You can go, but you ain't finna. You ain't doing nothing.
Marbury was a star there for a while.
Yeah, but he got a statue over there. But he brought them championships. You know what I mean? It's like if you're not a champion, you're not a champion. They not man. Don't even pick my phone up.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's serious. So it's respected. Hey man, did y'all know did y'all know the things with the Jeeps?
I heard y'all talking about it. The ducks.
Did you know the ducks on that? Did you know about that?
I heard y'all explain it. I didn't know anything about the ducks.
It's weird, man. Ducking Jeeps.
I've seen people with like a full dashboard full of ducks.
Yeah, so when you see a Jeep,
ducks in Jeeps.
When you see a Jeep that you like, you put a rubber duck in.
You duck it
on the
driver's side
handlebar, the door handle.
Somebody else's
door handle or the mirror. Yeah, because you acknowledging that you like their Jeep.
So people have like bags full of ducks that they're walking.
That whole Jeep culture,
that
man.
Jeep culture stuff's the worst.
Yep. I found this out,
dude. The rubber duck thing may have surpassed the glass packs in people's cars, man.
Friggin' Jeep guy,
dude. When we've got Kermit the Frog,
yeah, Jay. Look at Jeeps riding by. You'll see them on the dashboard. I saw somebody who looked like 30 ducks on their dashboard. No, I'm not
lying.
Duck
this punch.
Dude, I saw it yesterday, dog. I went to Gateway Tires, man. Golf ball and them getting me some tires, man. And it was a woman in there that she was coming to get her Jeep done. And I walked out there, looked at it, and she had a dash full of ducks. I'm like, what is this? So she gave me a little rubber ducky. I told her, give me one. And we went to go get some lunch. And the lady was walking her Jeep. And I said, hey, get this to her. And she turned around so excited.
Really?
Got the duck. She was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Darn."
So is that the equivalent of beads in New Orleans? Because that's kind of what it sounds
and that
like.
was the first thing I thought of. Yes, Safe. See? Yes. Sick minds think alike. You are absolutely right.
If you don't sit down,
yes.
sick minds think alike.
Rubber ducks should equal the same thing.
Rubber Ducky, you're the one. Adrian Colbert signed by the Titans this morning, brought in strong safety, nicknamed the Punisher. 6'2", 205, 39 games in a league, 22 starts. And done a lot. Played in San Francisco, played with the Browns. So there you go. Former Brown. Brought in as part of the churn in camp. Thursday's the game. I don't even think Moan even heard me, but the Titans have acquired a player.